These men and women who claim to be pastors, prophets, apostles, bishops, etc. have been using the Bible to manipulate and steal from people. When these teachers have needs, they tell you to pay your tithes. But when you have needs, they tell you to pray. After watching this video, you should know what a tithe is, the purpose of a tithe, the form of a tithe, the beneficiaries of a tithe, and how we as believers today should give. And if you realize that your pastor has been lying to you about this, then ask yourself, what else could he or she have misled me on? Firstly, nowhere in scripture does it say a tithe must be in the form of money. The word tithe means a tenth or 10% of animals and or agricultural harvests, and was required to support mainly the Levites, widows, orphans, and the poor. And later in this video, we'll explore why the Levites needed to be supported. So without wasting time, let's use scripture to prove that a tithe was never in the form of money. Leviticus 27 verse 30 to 32 reads, "And all the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. And concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, the tenth shall be holy unto the Lord." Does seed, fruit, herd, or flock mean money? No, these are things from the land, not money. Deuteronomy 14 verse 22 to verse 23 says, "You shall truly tithe all the increase of your grain that the field produces year by year, and you shall eat before Yahuwah your God, in the place where he chooses to make his name abide. The tithe of your grain, and your new wine, and your oil, of the firstborn of your herds and your flocks, that you may learn to fear Yahuwah your God always." So is the increase of your grain that the field produces money? The Israelites were even told to eat the tithe before Yahuwah. And I'm sure you have never seen a congregation eating paper money or coins in these local churches. 2 Chronicles 31 verse 4 to 6 reads, "Moreover, he commanded the people who dwelt in Jerusalem to contribute support for the priests and the Levites, that they might devote themselves to the law of the Lord. As soon as the commandment was circulated, the children of Israel brought in abundance the first fruits of grain and wine, oil and honey, and all the produce of the field. And they brought in abundantly the tithe of everything. And the children of Israel and Judah, who dwelt in the city of Judah, brought the tithe of oxen and sheep, also the tithe of holy things which were consecrated to the Lord their God. They laid in heaps." Does grain, wine, oil, honey, oxen, or sheep mean money? Of course they don't. But these pastors have made people to believe that these items are synonymous with money. Matthew 23 verse 23 reads, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. These you ought to have done without leaving the others undone." Mint and anise and cumin, these are plants or agricultural items, not money. Now listen to how they lie to people.
Tithe is the 10% of your income. It is holy and it belongs to the Lord. Your tithe is the foundation of prosperity.
There is nothing that establishes God's financial covenant with a man more than tithe and first fruit. Tithe brings God's judgment on the enemy of our prosperity. Tithe is not a giving. Tithe is a payment.
There is zero mention of money when it comes to tithing. And even the most quoted verse says, "Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house." Note that meat is food, not money. However, that does not mean there was no money those days. And if anyone says there was no money, it's either that person has never read the Bible from Genesis or is simply lying to you so that you can give them your money. There are a number of verses in Genesis that prove there was money even before tithing became a requirement. And when tithing became a requirement, Deuteronomy 14 verse 24 to 27 says, "But if the journey is too long for you, so that you are not able to carry the tithe, or if the place where Yahuwah your God chooses to put his name is too far from you, when Yahuwah your God blessed you, then you shall exchange it for money. Take the money in your hand and go to the place which the Lord your God chooses, and you shall spend that money for whatever your heart desires, for oxen or sheep, for wine or similar drink, for whatever your heart desires. You shall eat there before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. You shall not forsake the Levite who is within your gates, for he has no part nor inheritance with you. Again, money was never used as a tithe. Money was merely used as a form of transporting the tithe. So due to distance, you would sell the things you were going to tithe, and when you arrived in Jerusalem, you would buy the things you sold and give those as a tithe. And non-agricultural income like wages and salaries were never subject to a compulsory tithing law. These false teachers have changed the definition of what a tithe is because they do not love the truth. And note that the tithe was to be brought to a place where Yahuwah chose to place his name, and that place was Jerusalem. Has Yahuwah placed his name at your local church? Are your local churches Jerusalem? These Tithes have lied to you and convinced you that their churches are the place where Yahuwah chose to place his name. These are their churches because they even call them by the names of their founders. They even put pictures of themselves and their wives on the walls. These churches are not the temple of Yahuwah the Most High. Do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? Let's go into more detail regarding this subject on the next video.